Oh, happy day! It finally happened, everybody! COVID is over! Yay! COVID's over, everybody! I mean, come on, it has to be. Did you see that crowd? They are packed together to the motherfucking max, baby. Oh, surely state police and government officials would never allow that kind of mass gathering until the virus has been crushed. Right? Isn't that what Joe Biden said? He's going to arrest the virus, not the economy. And by that, he means he's going to arrest you for not accepting the mark of the beast vaccine. But surely this virus must be a thing of the past now. Why else would these people be completely packed together? Boy, look at them. Whoo-wee! I mean, you can't even tell where one ends and the other begins. It's just, I mean, that's more than shoulder to shoulder. That's shoulder to shoulder, chest to back, back to chest. That's just packed to the motherfucking max, man. Even if you are outside, clearly you're breathing somebody else's air. Clearly Joe Biden would never allow this to happen if it weren't safe. So obviously the virus is over. Yay! I'm doing my Kermit the Frog yell. Right? I mean, this is the end to it all, yeah? Look at this. Oh, baby. You can't even tell. It's just mashed together. You can't tell where it all begins and where it all ends. This is clearly the end of the virus.
On Thursday, Facebook banned a group called Stop the Steal. President Trump's supporters were using the group to organize protests against vote counting. Members posted baseless claims of voter fraud. The Washington Post reports some of the efforts promoted in places like Pennsylvania and Arizona specifically target vote counting centers, threatening disruptions while ballot tallying is still underway. For more on this, let's bring in CNET senior producer Dan Patterson. Hi there, Dan. So how big was this group, and are there others like it?
Hey, good to see you, Elaine. So this particular group was about 300,000 members, and it gained traction so quickly because some of the tributary groups themselves, at least according to the Washington Post, had several 100,000 members, including one called Women for America First, which had 100,000 members and was directly feeding into this larger group.
Well, what were the people in the group actually encouraging others to do?
Well, some of the rhetoric was fairly typical for what you would see in a grassroots organization. They were calling for donations to fund flights and hotels for boots on the ground. That might sound fairly normal, but it's not when you couple with the rhetoric that was used, much of which was very violent, and many of the members openly called for a violent civil war. So this wasn't just boots on the ground for grassroots organizing. This appeared to be, at least in the eyes of Facebook, boots on the ground for violent activity.
And that's the reason they gave for removing the group, because you and I have talked many times about how there has been such scrutiny on Facebook and other platforms this year.
Yeah, there really has been. I reached out to my spokesperson at Facebook, as I have all week. I heard nothing from my typical spokesperson, but Andy Stone, who is a fairly well-known spokesperson for the company, said that the group, this Facebook group's principles were founded around anti-democratic principles and were explicitly against or slowing down the electoral and the democratic process, and coupled with the violence that they saw in the group, this was enough for them to kind of slow down or stop this group.
I don't know. Maybe you guys heard something I didn't. you let me know in the comment section. But I kept waiting for the threat of violence to be articulated. It kind of sounded like the news anchor herself was a little underwhelmed by the reason or the rationale for Facebook for banning the group. Um, Ultimately, our the gentleman reporting on it, he said that they were encouraging violent civil war. Violent civil war. Uh-huh. I see. I'm curious. In 2016, when all the liberals were talking about all their different ways of revolting and resisting, and wasn't resistance a whole thing? Wasn't that like a whole trending thing? But that's not considered violence. Uh-huh. I see. Yet here we didn't get a single articulation of violence. And what I want to point out to you is what our corporate media is very fond of saying about these groups when we not I say we because I'm not really affiliated with any group, but you guys get my point. When we speak about things about how ballot box stuffing and things that we observations that we've made about our own deductive reasoning, the first thing out of their mouth is, where is the proof? Let's give a listen.
Against vote counting. Members posted baseless claims of voter fraud. The Washington Post reported baseless. President Trump's supporters were using the group to organize protests against vote counting. Members posted baseless claims of voter fraud. The Washington.
Aha. So we hear her say that the members put up baseless claims, but as we listen to our article here, we never get a single articulation of a threat of violence. So it would turn out that our corporate media, the thing that's deemed to be authoritative and authoritarian, eerie how the two words are so eerily similar, right? Authoritative and authoritarian, yes. But CBS is one of our authoritative sources of news that can be trusted. Oh, I see. So they make wild claims about this particular group, and to be fair and honest, maybe somebody did make a threat of violence. If they did, why don't you just simply say it? Give us the proof. Ooh, but that's right, proof. Proof for the deep state and corporate media is a one-way street these days. It is incumbent upon us, the people who do not believe in the pandemic. It's incumbent upon us to provide all the proof, okay? But no proof should come from the deep state. No proof that makes it incontrovertible that there is a pandemic. Give us proof give us proof that the amount of people per day, per city or state are dying. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't really made too many claims. I think they kind of realized they painted themselves into a corner. I haven't really heard city or state death toll claims exorbitant amounts in, well, I guess a few months now, as stated and as predicted, the fake pandemic, it was put on full life support in June. Okay? In full life support in June. It was already languishing in May. Okay? But then it just simply ultimately went to full life support in June. And of course, it had to stay on full life support until the fall, until it could be hitched up to annual flu cases. Why? Because that's all the so-called pandemic ever was to begin with. It was the flu. It may have been a harsher flu than normal, but ultimately that's what it ended up being, just a flu. Okay, killing no more or less than what the flu kills every year. So here we have we have a nation that is absolutely celebrating the expulsion of Donald Trump, whether you wish to see that as a good thing or a bad thing, legitimate or illegitimate. As far as I'm concerned, you can put a whole pin in that, for the time being anyway. I just simply want to know, why in the world is all of this? Why is all of this safe, permissible, allowable? Why? And remember, this is November. We're in November. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, excuse me, that is wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's Thursday, right? I guess you can tell it's been years since I've celebrated really any holiday with family. It's the last Thursday, right, of November. That's Thanksgiving, yes. But here we are on the 7th, okay, and everybody is jam packed. So apparently, COVID is null and void on November the 7th at 3:10 Eastern Time here in New Jersey, United States of America. Mhm. Or maybe all of New Jersey, maybe all of the world. So, what at this particular moment in the space time continuum, COVID is null and void, doesn't exist, or is of such weakened condition that it is now permissible to come out of your home. Okay, we can ignore our stay-at-home orders. Okay, and we can come together, and I mean that's more than just shoulder to shoulder. Okay, all right, that is just jam packed. I mean that that is you better make sure your deodorant is fresh. Okay, that's how packed they are. Okay, and I'm curious. Is there going to be any super spreading linked to celebrations of today? Is this a super spreader event? It's a super spreader event. I don't know. Is it a super spreader event? Okay, because if I'm not mistaken, in just a couple weeks' time, if but a handful of family members come to visit you, okay, if a car full or two carfuls of family members, extended family members, come to visit you in your home, you're gonna motherfucking die. And you're gonna kill everybody in your neighborhood, quite possibly everybody in the world. Thanksgiving dinner is a super spreader event. But no, Joe Biden's celebration is not super spreader. That's just magically immune. I don't know why, but it is. Apparently. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And not a single one of these people will be reported as being a super spreader for COVID. All because they're pro Biden. Freedom is on the line. When Joe Biden gets into office, he'll have never-ending excuses as to why suddenly a simple gathering among friends and family members is a death sentence. A simple family gathering will elicit police tactical response. Small businesses cannot open their doors. Salons, gyms, movie theaters cannot open their doors. But people are allowed to come together in spectacular fashion like this, and it will never be considered a super spreader event. And when people like me point this out, we are called conspiracy theorists. Silicon Valley like our Facebook. They shut us down and kick us off. We are trying to wake you up to a serious threat to your freedom that is barreling down the pike, and I don't think you can see it. I understand Donald Trump was an asshole, okay? I get it. He was selfish, he was greedy, he did a lot of shit that was really wrong. I'll tell you right now, I seriously believe that all Donald Trump had to do or not do, depending on your perspective, was not trash talk John McCain. Of all the things that Donald Trump did, he could have won Arizona and quite possibly Nevada if it was just that one thing that he just could have been man enough to take on the chin and not lash out about. Donald Trump would be president today. Instead, we have a fascist coming in, a fascist who will tell you when you can and when you cannot assemble. For what reason? Does your assemblage advance the liberal agenda? Or do you speak out against our fake pandemic? If so, then we're going to have to silence you. Apparently, the First Amendment has been issued an agenda. We were told that our Facebook group was violent, yet given no clear, concise threat of violence, none whatsoever. Just one more example of Silicon Valley telling you it's whatever we say it is. Well, I hope Silicon Valley knows what it's doing, because when it takes side like this, when it takes an active participation in policy making, well, then you're putting a target on your own head. You're taking on risks that are normally associated with elected officials. And I hope you know what you're doing. To everybody out there, please try and remain nonviolent. I don't know how this thing is going to play out. I say remain nonviolent, but of course we always know nobody really takes you seriously until you have become violent. There is a very real reason why nobody, no corporate media, be it left wing, right wing, or any other wing, there's a very real reason why nobody really puts out the spoofs of the Prophet Muhammad. They're too scared. And in order to get that kind of, whatever you want to call it, fear or respect, okay, whatever it is that you perceive it as, they had to kill people in order to get it. Every other religion of the world can be made fun of except for theirs. Is this what we're going to have to do to get respect, to get what the Constitution is supposed to enshrine? It's supposed to provide every man, woman, and child. But apparently the Constitution is being applied on a case-by-case basis. Uh-huh. I see. Case by case. You know, the anti-lockdown protesters, had they have assembled like this, the first thing the cops would have asked them is, do you have a permit? Do any of these people have a permit? Any permit? Permit. Woo! You got a permit? No? No permit? No? Well, that's okay. You don't need one. Why? Because you're the liberal deep state, they vouch for you. You don't need a permit when you're advancing the liberal agenda. Okay? But if you're anti-lockdown, then yeah, you better have your permit. And if you don't have it, get ready. We're going to turn the hoses on you. We're going to lock you up and we're going to haul you away. Why? Because you're threatening everybody's health and safety. So for one group, the pandemic exists, and for the other group, it doesn't. I see. So this wonderful celebration didn't have to wait for a vaccine, did it? No. They don't have to socially distance, do they? No. Of course not. That's just for small businesses. That's just for you, wanting to have a Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, Christmas celebration, family, friends, normal life. Then suddenly there's a pandemic that makes that not possible. Oh, I see. All right. I don't know what you're going to do, but I know I'm going to live my life like normal and fuck anybody who gets in my way. Total Control 871.